Hey, what's happening, y'all? It's me coming back at you again with another vid. This is a post-fight review between Jermell Charlo and Austin Trout for the 154-pound WBC title. What can I say? Definitely a not too much of an action-packed fight, but it wasn't too much of a letdown. I mean, it was an okay fight. Of course, you can't let the crowd in Staples Center persuade your perception of the fight because they were getting very restless during the later rounds of that fight. But anyhow, Charlo picks up the victory over Trout with a majority decision, which is a kind of bizarre way to score it for me because Charlo knocked down Trout twice, one in the third round and one in the ninth round. And I know in that ninth round where Trout complained that Charlo hit him illegally by behind the head, but if you look at the replay, he did hit him in the temple. So it was like a borderline shot that was between the temple and the back of the head. So it was still a fair. It looked like it was a fair shot to me. But needless to say, one judge. I scored this fight 116 to 110 for Charlo, the same score that Steve Farhood scored it. One judge scored it 118 to 108 for Trout. For Charlo, which was way too wide for my liking. But the other judge, which is the bizarre score, was 113 to 113. Well, what fight was he watching? I mean, how did he score? How did he deduct 2 points from Charlo? I don't understand. And then award 2 more points for Trout. I'm not sure if this judge is experienced or he probably wasn't. I mean, I'm not trying to be disrespectful unless he's watching the wrong fight. I don't know. That's just like one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen. The last time I've witnessed a bizarre score, well, not exactly a bizarre score, but it was a very, very complicating fight to score, which is the second Mike Tyson Razor Ruddock fight where, I mean, there was 2 knockdowns by Tyson on Ruddock. And then there was a lot of point deductions between Tyson and Ruddock. So it was a very, very hard fight to score given those deductions and those knockdowns in that fight, which made it pretty bizarre how to score it. But I guess the one I would say this fight, as far as the scoring concerned, I think it would be more equivalent to the Jermaine Taylor and the Corey Spinks fight, because that fight was scored in a very, very bizarre way. I know Jermaine Taylor got the split decision. Some argue that Corey won that fight. But one judge's, I had it extremely wide where I believe 2 points were deducted away from Corey Spinks on his card. I don't understand how do you score that, and yet he wasn't penalized for anything, as from my recollection. But yeah, this fight kind of sums it up from that particular fight when it comes to the scoring aspect of it. But needless to say, Charlo pretty much won this fight very comfortably, in my opinion. Well, actually, he did. It's not an opinion; it's fact. He did. Definitely not his best outing because obviously he couldn't do what he wanted with Trout, which is kind of expected because Trout is a very, very slicky and tricky fighter. And I think the reaction behind that is the fact that why Charlo felt discouraged after getting the decision is because he was trying to outshine, in my opinion, in his mind, he was trying to outshine Jarrett Hurd. As you guys recall, before this fight, Trout actually had a EBF title shot against Jarrett Hurd, and Jarrett Hurd stopped him, broke him down, and beat him badly in that fight. So big credit to Hurd. He stands right now as the only man to stop Austin Trout. And again, Charlo was trying to outshine him because there's talk about them having unification bout, which is a big, big, big unification clash at 154 for the 3 belts to be on the line. So a lot of people are picking Charlo to win it based off Jarrett Hurd's flaws as a fighter, especially from a defensive standpoint. But looking at that performance against Austin Trout, people might want to be more inclined to reassess their prediction on that fight if they were to make that happen. Oh man, that's a pretty nice crowd over here at Staples Center tonight. Abner Mares and Leo Santa Cruz. So the main event's coming up on Showtime, guys. But anyways, I think he was more distracted about trying to outshine or one up on Hurd. But given the fact that he wasn't able to do that against Trout, now a lot of people are going to have a bit of skepticism about how he's going to perform against Jarrett Hurd. I'm still picking Charlo to win it. But at this point, it's almost barely even fight at this point based on the way he performed against Trout. So again, it was not such a bad performance, and again, it wasn't that great. And he obviously from you could tell from his body language, he actually agrees with my assessment with his performance. But where does Charlo go from here? Hopefully, we can get that unification clash between him and Hurd as soon as possible. But we do know that Hurd is actually tied up with the situation with the WBA because they've ordered him to rematch Erislandy Lar, which I can't see how they were able to do that because that's not a mandatory fight. So I don't know how they could do something like that. Which is pretty bizarre. But anyways, it is what it is. Let me know what your thoughts about Jermell Charlo's performance, and how do you see him matched up against Jarrett Hurd based off his performance against Austin Trout? And where does Austin Trout go from here at this point? To me, I'm gonna be honest with you. This man's gotten so many title opportunities at 154, and he's hasn't really been quite successful with those opportunities. Even though he was a former champion. Yes, he did capture the title several years ago, but clearly the guy's lost a step. I mean, he took a beating from Hurd. He's definitely took some bit of damage against Canelo. Didn't look that great against Jermell Charlo. So he's I think at this point he's a high level journeyman at this point, to be honest with you. I just can't see how he'll get another shot at the title unless he can put on a string of wins against these other top 154-pound guys. I just don't see it happening. He's a high level. Well, I wouldn't say I wouldn't call him a journeyman at this point. I would say he's a high level gatekeeper. Let's put it that way. He's a high level gatekeeper at this point. So yeah. Anyhow, again, let me know what your thoughts about his performance, and again, where do you see Austin Trout go from here at this point? Or actually, you know what? Let me take that back. Again, what do you think about Jermell Charlo's performance? And again, what do you think about Austin Trout? Where do you think he goes from here at this point? Let me know what your thoughts. I'm out.